Hello, good morning. So I am starting my new YouTube channel. I've had different YouTube channels before, but this one, I'm gonna try to make it as unscripted as possible because the whole point of it is being in perimenopause or menopause and how that changes our life and how we can work with the magic of being, let's say 45 or older, and how we can inform ourselves, how we can learn and empower ourselves with information and knowledge, and how we can be realistically and authentically ourselves during this time in our life, because I don't know about you, but I'm pretty tired of not being true to myself and not trying to be everything else for everyone else. And that's really what I want to focus on. So I thought I would start recording my first official video for this particular channel as I'm walking, because I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of time. I work full time. I have lots of interests, including menopause health, perimenopause care. I just got my certification in menopause wellness coaching. Before that, I did an 8-month holistic life coaching program. I have 5 kids, 3 biological, 2 through love, and they're ages 9 through 23. So lots of different stages in their lives, lots of different responsibilities and support that I offer them all. I have a husband, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend. So I don't have a lot of time to just sit around and edit and create amazing videos. So I'm choosing self-care. I'm choosing to take care of myself. I'm choosing health. I'm choosing healthy living. And one of those ways is I climb up this big hill. I don't know if you can see, I'm starting the descent now. And I'm gonna make as many videos climbing this hill as I can. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about my journey and why I'm doing this and why I care. About, let's say, 3.5, 4 years ago, my body started freaking out, let's say. I will disclose that I've had years and years and years of struggle with thoughts about food, unhealthy body weight. I've gained and lost 50 pounds or more at least 5 significant times in my life. And I've done a ton of work on my false and limiting beliefs and my, I guess, addiction, for lack of a better word, to using food as, some sort of numbing recourse, or, it was just a terrible cycle. So I've done a lot of work on that. And I was finally feeling in a place of more or less I wasn't the heaviest I've ever been, and I definitely wasn't the thinnest I'd ever been, but weight wasn't coming off. I just kind of felt stuck there. And I guess I was just getting to the place where I was just accepting that. I was in my late 40s and I was pretty healthy overall, but I was just gonna settle and accept that that was where my weight was gonna be, because it didn't matter how little I ate, it wasn't coming off, and I wasn't motivated or energized to start running again. I've run 3 half marathons since I was 37. So I'm definitely not lazy. I have the ability to get out there and run. Have the ability to get out there and challenge myself. I've been in, the Biggest Loser competitions, and I've lost the weight, I've gotten strong, and then I've always fallen off. So I'm just a normal human, like most of us. And so I noticed that the weight wouldn't come off. That was like a real first symptom that even if I was trying, nothing was changing, because I was vegetarian. I'd been vegan for a little bit. I'm mostly pescatarian now. Maybe I'll have meat like once every 6 or 7 months. Like I'll have a little bit. It's not that I don't like meat, I just don't really care to eat it. So then some weird stuff started happening to my body. Like I started getting vertigo. Like I was trying to do yoga. I was trying to take care of myself. I was trying to, get healthy. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's the crystals in my ears. Maybe, I did all the different head maneuvers to try and straighten myself. And it was scary. Like I had never had vertigo in my life. That was really scary. And then I started noticing my libido, like just, I don't know. It completely shifted. Obviously it wasn't overnight, but it felt like it was overnight. Then I started feeling anxiety like I had not felt it before. And my heart started with all these crazy palpitations. And so then I started thinking, am I having a heart attack? And again, I was generally healthy. And, I'd bring up these conversations, and nobody ever mentioned menopause or perimenopause to me at all, ever. I still was having my period, so I wasn't thinking about it. I had a late baby. I had my daughter when I was 43. So I'm not thinking about like retirement or getting old. I'm just thinking about surviving on a daily basis with all these kids. So, and then I was very stressed at work. So I started feeling immense pressure to, we went through the whole COVID thing, and then I felt immense pressure to go back to work full time to help support my kids that were going into college. And that stress really compounded my general overall symptoms of not feeling good. And then I started not sleeping very well. And like before, I used to sleep through the night. Didn't matter what was going on around me. I almost never woke up. But then, I'd hear the kids go up the stairs, and that would put me in a horrible mood because I would blame the kids. Or I'd hear someone in the kitchen after 10, and I'd be mad. And, so then my mood became very foul. And I'm pretty much generally disposed to happiness, although I'm a Sagittarius. If you know anything about astrology, I'm generally pretty gregarious, but there's a very quiet side to me. My husband will say there isn't, but there's an internal part to me too. And then the bladder. Okay, like all of a sudden I had to go to the bathroom all the time. Like I had to pee so badly, so immediately, that I was gonna wet my pants. It was horrific. So that prompted me to go to an OBGYN, and he was lovely and, kind. And, he started talking to me. He said, oh, you don't need estrogen yet. I didn't really even know what that meant, because no one actually talked to me about, I'd heard a little bit about hormones in my life, and I'm a pretty educated woman. But no one had ever talked to me about that I might need estrogen in my body. I was not educated about my body, which is scary. And then, so he gave me some medication to stop the spasming in my bladder. So I was like, okay, that was, but I knew there was something else. And they also sent me to pelvic floor physical therapy, which, you know, because I grew up in a very traditional Irish Catholic family, we did not talk about vaginas, and we did not talk about pelvic floors. And another thing that had been happening to me was I had terrible hip problems, and I had no idea that my hips were attached to my pelvic floor muscles. Like, I just had, where I'm going with all this is I had all these disparate crazy symptoms, but I had no idea that any of them were connected. And that's so sad to me, because I read, I watch podcasts, I listen to podcasts, I watch videos, I read so many books. I'm so interested in learning, and I never took the time to learn about myself. So fast forward to the wake ups in the middle of the night and the heart palpitations, and the anxiety turned into full-blown like a panic attack, and then insomnia. So I don't know if you've ever experienced insomnia, but it is probably one of the most frightening experiences I've ever had, because you have no control over it. And then, of course, my inability to use all my mindfulness training. You know, I've done the MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction training. I've worked in the spiritual communities for years. I'm a Reiki master teacher. I mean, I have really tried to develop my holistic, mindful mind, and I could not stop my brain from catastrophizing, no matter how hard I tried. It didn't matter. I was beside myself. So there would be nights where I would just not sleep, not a wink, nothing. I tried over the counter, you know, I started with like Advil and Tylenol PM. I got all these holistic sleep remedies. I even tried CBD, which I do not like anything like that, because it just does not work with my level of sensitivity. Like, that just made me feel like the worst. It did not help me at all. I just was desperate. I called my regular PCP, which, lovely human. Nobody talked to me like, oh, this is a very common side effect of perimenopause. So when the insomnia hit me so hard, I just started a new job that I knew wasn't really in alignment with me, but I was in such a state of mental dismay over everything. I couldn't even really make good decisions. And that was the other part, is word recall. I'm still struggling with word recall. I've been on bioidentical hormone therapy for 2.5 years now. Saved my life. Don't worry, I'm going to talk a lot about that. Totally saved my life. So there's a good ending to this, or there's a good new beginning, let's say. But oh my gosh, I couldn't talk. And I'm a very articulate talker. I talk a lot. You can ask my husband. But I couldn't remember anything to save my life. It was so distressing. So I went to my doctor. I remember sitting there. First, I got an appointment with a young gentleman. Again, I'm sure he's a great physician's assistant or whatever he is. But he told me to take Benadryl, and I literally wanted to punch him in the face. I wanted to say to him, do you know what it feels like not to sleep for 2 nights in a row? Like, and take care of your children and your job and be a mother and a wife and all those things. Like, I wanted to punch him, and I am not a violent human. So that didn't work. And finally, my doctor prescribed me trazodone, which, again, I am not ungrateful for that, because it helped me immensely in the moments that I needed to at least get 4 hours of sleep. but I felt like I got punched in the face the next day every time I took it. I felt like I had taken a drug, or I did, but I felt like I had drank or something. I don't even drink alcohol. That's something I gave up. I'll talk to you about that too. I don't do drugs except for, you know, whatever's helping me with my hormone replacement therapy. And, you know, anyway, I did not do well on the trazodone, but it did help me sleep. But by the grace of the universe, whatever you want to call it, I met a friend of mine that I hadn't seen for ages, walking in our neighborhood, and she told me that she was going to see a hormone specialist, a nurse practitioner, because she was having such a horrible time with perimenopause or menopause. And I just listened to her and I started to cry because I knew that I had met her purposefully after all those years. I saw her out of the blue. There's no coincidences in my life, right? And it was the beginning of my comeback to life. It's the reason I'm here today talking about this, because I want everybody to know, at the very least, the options that are available to them, because nobody told me. Nobody. I made the appointment like immediately, and in the meantime I had actually gone to, because I started getting desperate and researching for solutions, I had gone to an OBGYN who, again, lovely human, because I had called back the same office because of that I had gotten this help with for my bladder issues, and I had made an appointment. So I'd already met with this bioidentical hormone therapy nurse midwife, and I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. I was scared, and I was scared because I was uninformed. I was uninformed about my choices. I was uninformed about how hormones worked in my body. I was uninformed about the Women's Health Initiative study that scared an entire generation away from hormones that we desperately need to protect our brain, our hearts, our organs, our bones. I was scared. So if you're scared right now, it's okay. Just educate yourself, and I'm going to help you do that. Like, I am an educator. That's what I do for a living. Is I am a corporate trainer and create content, online training content. I'm a certified teacher in 3 different topics. I've taught little kids, middle school, high school, adults. I educate for a living, but I'm way more passionate about educating about topics I'm passionate about. Like, I've taught many people, I've passed on Reiki to many people. I have taught a lot about different spiritual topics that are very important to me, and now this is what I'm experiencing in my life, so it's very important to me to talk about that. So I was scared. This wonderful nurse practitioner sent me to the Women's Hormone Network.org. I'll put that link below. And I educated myself. You have to be a member, or you can join. It's not very expensive, but they have all these different webinars to train practitioners about hormone therapy. And what I learned was the Women's Health Initiative study, although it did a lot of good, did so much damage and harm to women, especially my mom's generation. My mom's like 23 years older than me, because the headlines read, hormone therapy causes cancer. And it did not deep dive into who the recipients were of this hormone therapy. It didn't deep dive into all of the age of the participants. It didn't deep dive into whether or not these women already had the propensity for breast cancer. It didn't reference the true facts about the Women's Health Initiative. And in the country today, this is 2024, less than 2% of peri and menopausal women are using hormones to help keep them healthy. I am part of that 1.8% now, and it is the best decision I ever made. Now, of course, there's some people that won't be candidates for hormone therapy as we know it right now, because maybe you do have a hormone receptive form of cancer and you wouldn't want to. It's not that the hormones will cause the cancer, but it could cause it to be active. So there are some women that just wouldn't be good candidates for systemic estrogen or therapy. But there are billions of women who are. So, and maybe it's not billions, millions, but I'm going to say billions. That is an uninformed, anecdotal estimate, by the way. I'm not a scientist. I don't even try to play one, but I do read a lot of studies and look to the experts who are experts to interpret those studies. And I will continue to share all the great information that I learned from those studies also on this page. So anyway, I went to this woman. I educated myself. I talked to my husband because he was just as desperate as I was to get me feeling better, because when your partner is low and down and out and beside herself, like not knowing how she's going to get through a day, I can imagine that's immense stress, especially when you usually have a strong participant in life and all of a sudden that strong participant is like non-existent beside herself. I call it the dark years of my soul. It wasn't a dark night, it was dark years. So I agreed to start my journey. I use physiologic restoration, which is using topical creams I put estrogen on, I put progesterone on, and I started using testosterone. I use it cyclically, so it's like it's recreating my menopausal, I'll have to edit that part. It recreates my period, my monthly cycle. So I'm 52 and I still have my period, and I get it like clockwork on day 1. Sometimes it's day 28, sometimes it's day 2, but it's pretty much, but it took a while to get to that, to regulate everything about my body, my system again. And the goal is to recreate using bioidentical hormones, which I will explain to you in depth what those are in coming videos. But basically they're made from like plants, yams, and another plant, where if you were to look at them under a microscope, they have the exact same chemical composition as our actual natural hormones do, versus synthetic hormones, which if you've ever been on birth control, those are synthetic hormones. So you've been probably taking them most of your life. And you know what? I never really understood what birth control was. I never understood when I was taking a pill or I had the Mirena. Like, I never understood what I was putting in my body. And I'm upset that I was so uninformed. I'm upset that I didn't know enough about what I was putting into my body to know that now I would not want to put those into my body. I wouldn't want to take synthetic hormones, although if that's the only thing you can take, it's probably better than nothing. But we'll talk about that, and I'll find the research for that. I don't want to make assumptions. I'm not a doctor. So I chose bioidentical hormones because I did do the research. And there's more and more research on their efficacy. And the FDA is slow to approve them for off-label uses. But they have approved certain forms of bioidentical estrogen for relief of like vasomotor symptoms like night sweats and all those things. And I'll be sharing more about that detailed information in future videos. As I learn, I will share. And as I can build the content, I will put it out there. But I started that journey. I did go to the OBGYN because I was desperate. And she was lovely, and she did prescribe me a patch and some progesterone, oral progesterone, which I took like for half of my cycle. But the truth is, you know, she had 15 minutes. They didn't do any blood work. I had my own blood work done. And, you know, she had 15 minutes for me. Like, I needed a friend. I needed a coach, or I needed someone who gave a flying cannoli about me beyond, you know, whatever costs they were collecting for the service of that day. I remember I called like a week into it, being like desperate, like it's not helping. Like I had like 2 nights of insomnia, and I was beside myself, and nobody ever called me back. Like that was the worst feeling. Like if I didn't feel alone before that, I felt really alone after that, because the medicine wasn't working. Like nobody told me that it was going to take like 3 months to really make a difference. And, you know, if we're lucky, certain forms, I'm learning like pellet therapy can sometimes work for people, like start working and relieving symptoms like within a week. But no one ever told me that. Like I didn't know any of that. And again, I will talk about all the different types of therapy that are available in the coming episodes that I do. But soon thereafter, I started working with Suzanne. She's my hormone therapy guru. And again, I chose physiologic restoration. I don't know if I'll stay on that forever. I might switch my delivery system at some point, because maybe I don't want to get my period forever. For now, I still feel like I'm 35 again, maybe even younger. So I just keep having my period like normal, and that's okay, because I feel amazing. So I don't care. I mean, with any hormone therapy, there's always the chance of, when you introduce estrogen into your body, the chance of bleeding. So at least I know when I'm going to bleed, and I'm fine with that. But she was wonderful. She educated me to the best of her ability. She listened to me. I had the ability to text her any time of the day, you know, she got back within 24 hours. Like I just knew that someone had my back. And within a month, I started to feel change, and I started to feel better. Within 6 months, I was sleeping. I was starting to, I was evolving as a human. It was amazing. 2.5 years into this, I get 8 hours of sleep every night. Sometimes I have to set my alarm now, because otherwise I might not wake up after 8 hours. I might sleep 9 hours. Like I had bought a Tempur-Pedic, which actually was the best thing I ever bought for myself. Adjustable bed when I was in the throes of insomnia. I was beside myself. It cost $10,000. I didn't have $10,000. I didn't care. I got the 5-year payoff plan, and I did. It was the best bed I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, I'm in my bed way more than I am my car. My car's like 13 years old, but my bed is amazing. Best thing I ever bought. Anyway, it keeps track of my sleep, so I know how much I slept every night, and I am the best sleeper. So if you are experiencing sleep troubles and you're over 40, I'm going to teach you what I have learned about hormones and sleep and supplementation. I take tons of magnesium, you know, all monitored by my practitioner, making sure that I don't have too much and I'm right in perfect levels. I take different kinds of magnesium because there's different types of magnesium. I take chelated magnesium in the morning, and I take magnesium L-threonate at night. that crosses the blood-brain barrier, so it also helps with brain protection. I'm really interested in myself again, and I'm making sure that I'm prioritizing my health so that I never want to go back to where I was. And like I said, so 2.5 years into this, I feel like a new human. I'm happy again. I don't have panic attacks anymore. I sleep through the night. You know, I still have bladder, like if I do jumping jacks. But part of that is also, I haven't been doing a lot of physical therapy for my pelvic floor, and I've had 3 children vaginally. So I'm not saying it's not fixable, like if I put in the time and the effort, which maybe now that I'm putting myself out there, I'll start doing that more. But I'm also not using estrogen vaginally, or I just started with a vaginal insert to help with adding estriol, which is a form of estrogen, to my intake of bioidentical hormones. So I'll definitely keep you posted on how that works. And now there's going to be a truck driving by me again, so, and being really loud, interrupting my video. I live in a really quiet neighborhood, so again, I don't know why there's so many trucks today. So I'm learning. Where am I still struggling with my hormones? I'd say my libido is a lot better, but we're just testing increasing my testosterone because, you know, she wanted to do it methodically, and I'm considering a testosterone pellet, and I'm doing the research. I'm actually enrolled in a bioidentical hormone therapy academy. My sister, who you're probably gonna meet on this journey, Maureen, is a advanced practitioner nurse, and she's focused on the aesthetics world, but she's also she's a nurse midwife. She delivers babies, but she's also jumping into this now that she's in her later 40s. She's jumping into learning everything she can about supporting menopausal women, perimenopausal women in their journeys, and it's amazing so far what she and I are both learning together. And I started this conversation about weight, and I'm going to end this conversation about weight because I want to also help reduce some of the stigma. I don't know if you can see, but I think I look pretty good. Since starting hormone therapy, I actually gained weight, and I want everyone who has heard, oh my God, if you take estrogen, you're going to gain weight. Let me just tell you, so what? Because you'll gain weight for a short amount of time, and then your hormones will get in balance because you did not get to this point in 1 week or 1 month. You got to this point probably 40 plus years. So give yourself 6 months to a year to balance your hormones. Like, give yourself that gift, because I took the time to balance my hormones. And then early March of this year, it's 2024, I then introduced GLP-1s. I started with tirzepatide, and not only did it help address all of my mental anxiety about food, like it just shut that part of my brain off. It's miraculous for some people. Some people, maybe you don't have the same brain as me, so maybe it won't work the same way. And I know tirzepatide is not bioidentical. You know, it's a synthetic drug that mimics hormones in our body and wakes up certain hormones in our body, slows down our digestive system. But let me tell you, tirzepatide is the same as Mounjaro, by the way. It has been miraculous, and I believe this is anecdotal. I don't have science to prove it. But because my hormones are balanced now and I feel amazing, I started taking the tirzepatide. I've lost 52 pounds. 52 pounds since March. I mean, I walk. I'm still eating the same way. I eat less, but I still am a pescatarian. I still eat wicked healthy. You're gonna see some of my good shakes that I make every day. I eat salmon. I eat, sometimes I eat shrimp, but I eat salmon a lot, and sometimes I eat tofu, but not all the time. But I mostly eat like vegetables. Sometimes I eat mushroom burgers, you know, the fake stuff, or the lab stuff, whatever it is. But I'm very human. I'm not like a perfectionist when it comes to my food. But anecdotally, I'll tell you, losing the weight. Where's my flowers? Losing the weight has been amazing. Losing the weight using the GLP-1s has been life-changing. It's been like the icing on the cake for my hormone therapy. It's literally transformed my life. I don't think about food. I don't obsess about food. And now, because I have the energy, I get great sleep. I take care of myself with the right supplementation. Like, it's all coming together. But this was a 2.5-year project, people. So I'm worth it, and you're worth it. And that's what I wanted to share today, is that how I got here, you know, who I am. I have an undergraduate degree. I have a master's in business. I have a master's in education. I'm a Reiki master teacher. I am a certified holistic life coach. I'm a certified menopause wellness coach. And I still knew nothing about myself. I mean, I do shadow work, which I would love to introduce to you. I have done deep dives into my spiritual well-being. You know, I got my little Buddha over there. I am no Buddha, but I try to emulate. And I also have my angel. So, you know, I'm a little bit of everything. I grew up in the Catholic Church, but I'm much more spiritual than I am any type of religion. My motto is to be loving and kind, but also not to put yourself last. Like, because I have put myself last a lot. And so my goal with this channel is to become authentically who I am by actually being who I am, not being afraid to talk about vaginas and menstrual cycles and estrogen and taking, you know, Wegovy or Mounjaro or tirzepatide or semaglutide. Like, do whatever you want to feel better. Like, let the haters hate. Who cares, right? But I never could have done this 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. But I'm ready to do this now. So I can't wait to do this journey with you.